Alright, you lot, gather round, because we're diving straight into the thick of it today. And by it, I mean ripping apart ludicrous nonsense some keyboard warrior going by xDaPrincex decided to bless a recent video with. You know, usual. Game's broken, devs are incompetent, world's ending, blah blah blah. Honestly can't believe I gotta go through all this again. It's like trying to teach Penguin how to fly. But before I start swinging me intellectual armour of truth, do us all a favour, yeah? Don't forget to like, subscribe and all that bollocks. It helps channel grow, which means more of this hard-hitting Yorkshire wisdom coming your way. Now let's get into it. Right, let's start with good old delays and netcode argument, shall we? Our mate xDaPrincex reckons delays are just sign of incompetence. I don't know about you lot, but if a game's netcode is dodgier than politicians promise, I'd rather they delete bloody thing and sort it out than release a steaming pile of unplayable rubbish. See, original netcode were causing issues with matchmaking on consoles, so they had to tear it down and build a new one from scratch. Were it perfect at launch? Of course not. But Rome wasn't built in a day, neither is new netcode. It's a bit like expecting a newborn to run marathon straight out at womb. Give it a bit of time to find its feet, will ya? So yeah, game had some teething problems, but I'd rather deal with a few hiccups than be stuck with a broken mess forever. And before you start with first impressions matter speech, let me just say this. If your first impression of a game is enough to make you drop it like hot tater, then maybe gaming it for you, my friend. Next up, let's address this tantrum of snipers and bunny hopping, shall we? xDaPrincex seems to think that snipers are basically long-range shotguns and bunny hopping turns players into invincible ninjas. Now mate, have you actually played game? Or are you just parroting what you've heard on Twitch or seen on Reddit? Let's start with snipers. Yeah, they pack a punch. Newsflash, that's point. They're supposed to be deadly from a distance, but they've already been nerfed to a reasonable state. Now if you're getting outgunned by a sniper when you've got an SMG, that's on you, not game. Maybe instead of moaning about it, try moving unpredictably. Or here's a wild idea, don't run straight into crosshairs or a weapon designed to drop you in one shot. Novel concept, I know. As for bunny hopping, yeah, it were a bit much at launch, but since then they've toned it down to where it's more of a hop than a bloody trampoline. It's not game breaking, it's just another skill to master. If your opponent's bouncing around like kangaroo on Red Bull, learn to adapt and outplay them. Complaining about it just tells me you're looking for excuses rather than solutions. So stop blaming game mechanics for your losses and start focusing on improving your own gameplay. Snipers and bunny hoppers aren't problem. Problem is you expecting every engagement to go your way. Spoiler alert, it won't. Now let's tackle camping complaint, cause apparently xDaPrincex thinks games as stagnant as pond in a drought. He's convinced that XDefiant rewards camping and makes game boring. Right, sure, and out king of bloody England. Here's reality, mate. XDefiant's too fast paced for camping to be a viable strategy. Anyone trying to set up camp gets smoked faster than a brisket at Texas barbecue. Maps are designed to keep you on move, and if you're sitting in a corner waiting for someone to wander by, you're not just playing game wrong, you're actively wasting your time. You're getting outplayed by campers, it's probably because you're running around like headless chicken, not checking corners or thinking about your approach. And as for this nonsense about rewarding stagnant play, mate, default, this game punishes you for standing still. Only reward campers get is an early trip back to respawn screen. So unless you're talking about a completely different game, this argument is as solid as wet tissue paper. Real issue here ain't game's balance. It's that some people can't handle the fact that not every match is gonna play out like they expect. Newsflash, adapting to different play styles is part of the game. If you're not doing that, then you're gonna keep getting outplayed, and no amount of whining will change that. In short, if camping's a problem for you, solution is simple. Get better, think smarter, and stop blaming game for your own lack of tactical awareness. Finally, let's get on to the grand finale of this rant. Blaming devs and calling Mark Rubin out. xDaPrincex reckons that devs at worst he's ever seen and that Mark's just making excuses. Oh, sweet summer child, let me educate you on how real world works. First off, blaming devs for every little hiccup is like blaming waiter cause your steak ain't cooked to perfection. Sure, they bring it to the table, but they're not ones grilling it. Devs are working their asses off to make best game they can with resources they've got, all while dodging orders from corporate suits who've likely never held a controller in their lives. Ubisoft's corporate overlords have demands, deadlines and profit margins to think about, and guess who's caught in the middle? That's right, devs. As for Mark Rubin, man's juggling more responsibilities than one-armed juggler at circus. He's got to keep players happy, manage dev team, and deal with corporate breathing down his neck, all while maintaining some semblance of personal life. And let's not forget he's just come back from seeing his mum, possibly for the last time. You reckon you can handle that without dropping ball or two? Didn't think so. Now Mark's doing his best with what he's got, and yeah, sometimes things don't go perfectly, but don't mean he's incompetent or that devs are useless. It means they're human, working within a system that isn't always friendly to creativity or quality control. If you want to blame someone, point finger at corporate suits who prioritise profits over polish. So to sum it up, stop tearing down people who are actually trying to make the game better. Mark and his team are in trenches doing best they can with and have been dealt. If you're not happy with game, take a break, play something else and come back when things have improved. But don't act like your complaints are gospel truth when you don't know half of what goes on behind the scenes. So folks, we've torn through every piece of the Prince's rant like chainsaw through butter, and hopefully I've managed to clear up some fog that seems to be clouding the judgment. Now I'm not saying game's perfect, no game is, but I'm sick to death of people who haven't got faintest idea about game development acting like they know better than devs themselves. So before you dive headfirst into the next comment section to spew your 2 cents, maybe take a second and actually think about what you're saying. And if you're still feeling the need to rant, by all means, drop them in my comments. Now do me a favour, smash that like button, hit subscribe and leave a comment below with your thoughts and gaming stories. Who knows, you might get your moment in the spotlight. I'll see you next time, you magnificent.